Good morning and welcome back to another Talklets conversation. One of my favorite actors is Liam Neeson, who starred in the movie back in 2009 called Taken. And his character is a retired CIA agent. And Liam is having this conversation with his daughter that she wants to go on this girls' getaway trip to Paris. Now, keep in mind, she's just fresh out of high school. And you know how protective fathers are about their daughters, especially that young. And so he's debating with her that she shouldn't go because it's not safe. And, she's not mature enough to really handle that type of responsibility. But she's telling him that she's going with her cousin, Amanda, and that they can handle this. They've got it all set up. They've got an Airbnb, and they got it together. And so he finally gives in, like any decent, good father who wants his daughter to experience life and enjoy life. He says yes. But he tells her that when she gets there, make sure she gives him a call to know that she's checked in and to make sure that, she's safe. And so when she gets there, she calls him. And she's on the phone with him. And she makes this statement to him. She says, "Daddy, there's somebody in the house." As she's looking downstairs, she can see her friend Amanda being taken. And so he tells her, "Go to your bedroom and get up under your bed and keep your cell phone on." And so she does just that. And while she's up under the bed, the kidnapper comes into the bedroom. And her father tells her, this is the most important part. He says, "They're going to take you." Now, you have to realize, for a father to know that's about to happen, that's terrifying. For a daughter to know that she is vulnerable to the point that her father can't come save her at that moment, that's terrifying. And so the last time he hears his daughter's voice, she's screaming because they grabbed her from up under the bed. And she leaves the cell phone there. And the kidnapper picks up the cell phone, and all Liam can hear is this kidnapper breathing in the phone. So he knows it's a man. How terrifying is that? To know that your precious daughter, your precious son, is being taken advantage of by somebody in a foreign country, somebody next door, and you can't get to him time enough to stop the pain, to stop the horrific feeling that's inside of them and then also inside of you as well. And so as the kidnapper picks up the phone, Liam makes this statement. He says, "I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you want. But if you're looking for ransom," he says, "I can tell you I don't have money." Now, this part reminds me of Apostle Peter and Apostle John coming to the temple, and they see this man begging for money, begging for food. And he reaches up and he begs them for money as well. And Peter makes this statement. He says, "I ain't got no money." He says, "Silver and gold, I have none." He says, "But what I'm packing, it's more precious than money." He says, "The skill set that I have, it's believe me, it's a lot better than money. This name that I'm carrying, it's more important than money. It's more sustainable than any dollar bill I could give you." Neil makes a statement, "But what I do have are a very particular set of skills." That's what Peter's saying. What I do have, this name that I do have, it's a very particular set of skills. He says, skills I have acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. He says, if you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. If you let her go now, that'll be the end of it. That's a prayer we should be praying and telling Satan that I've got a particular set of skills. It's called prayer. It's called worship. It's called fasting. It's called Jesus Christ. Yes, that name that's above every name. And you need to let my daughter go now. Let my son go now. That prodigal son, that prodigal daughter, let them go now. And that'll be the end of it. I'll stop praying against you. in this particular area. But Leo makes a statement. He says, but if you don't, he says, I will look for you. And he says, I will find you and I will kill you. Most of us don't have that type of, if you will, courage, boldness to tell the devil, if you don't let my son go, I'm going to find you. I'm going to make sure I put Jesus on you. I'm going to make sure I pray day and night to make sure that Jesus kill you, to make sure that you're snuffed out in this area of my life. Most of us don't even think of praying like that. We're just so timid. Please, Mr. Devil, let my son go. No, that ain't going to work. That makes it very clear. If you let her go, that'll be the end of it. But if you don't, I will look for you. Oh, and I will find you. And I will kill you with this particular set of skills that I possess. And so Liam is listening on the phone intensely to see what the kidnapper is going to say. And this is what he says. He says, good luck. It so happened Liam was recording because what he was trying to do was get something out of this man. His dialect. I mean, how does he sound? I mean, what's his voice like? Because if I can get what type of nationality you are, maybe I can find my daughter. And so by him saying, good luck, that was all he needed. And what Satan is telling you is good luck. But you know who he is. It's very easy. We've been told who the enemy is. But are you praying in a way? Are you seeking God in a way to where the enemy knows, I'm going to get my hands up off of this person. I'm going to have to go ahead and let this person go. I'm going to have to leave this person alone because Donnie, these people, these believers, no, they pray too hard for God to intervene. I told you we love our babies, and the last thing we wanted was something to happen to one of them. When I was in college, I have a friend, and we drink and smoke, after we finish playing basketball, and we have a good time. And this one afternoon, though, he gave me this pill. It was called a Quaalude. It was something to just make you just kind of calm down, just relax, just chill even more. He didn't tell me that you're not supposed to drink alcohol with this pill. And so I drank beer behind it, and I'm just playing cards with the boys, and the next thing I know, 3 days later, when I said 3 days later, you heard me, I'm walking around like a zombie. I'm still like out of it, 3 days. I'm walking around going to class, and I'm just not myself. And I realized that someone could have took advantage of me. Someone could have taken me because I had no power. And that's what we tell our daughters and sons. Don't put your drink down because someone will put something in it and try to drug you. Don't smoke with people who you don't know. And even then, you shouldn't be smoking because they can lace it with something. My father told me before I left for college, he told me, Donnie, I don't do anything that makes my head hurt. That's what my father told me. He says, I don't mess with anything that makes my head hurt. And what he was telling me was that he don't do anything that will take him out of his senses, that will put him in a position where he's vulnerable for someone to take advantage of him. Now, I didn't quite get it, but I got it. As I'm sitting there on this Quaalude, I'm just not myself, and I can't come to myself. I can't bring myself out of this. It's got to wear off. And so when it finally wore off, let me tell you right now, I never gave myself to anything again. Nothing that will take me away from my thoughts, my mind, that would make me that vulnerable ever again. Some of you have allowed your daughters, your sons, some of you have been placed in a position where you've been vulnerable like that, to where you didn't know where you were. You didn't know who you were. And someone took advantage of you. See, that's what the devil does. That's what the enemy does. He will come in and he will take advantage of your weakness. All you're doing is trying to have fun. You're just trying to party. But he has other alternative motives. He wants to take your life from you. He wants to take your joy from you. He wants to take every good thing that you have going away from you. And you're letting him. Yeah, it's not so much what he's taking, it's what you're given. Yeah, we can say the devil took it, but really and truly, you offered it up by being naive, by being, we can say, ignorant, by not listening to your father's or mother's advice. Donnie, I don't do anything that makes my head hurt. Human trafficking is one of the worst things that we've ever experienced. It has been estimated that 27 million people are victimized worldwide every single day. Yeah, every single day. Somebody's caught up into this human trafficking business, if you will. And then if you throw in the labor, where people are working overseas, working maybe here in this country as well, for pennies. I mean, just for pennies. That's a total of 49 people who are being victimized in some kind of way, being taken advantage of by criminals, if you will, by greed. That's what's happening. So you don't think they'll take your daughter? I don't care who she is. You don't think they'll take your son? They'll take him. So we've all experienced being taken at one point or another. I mean, all of us. You've been taken advantage of by somebody. You've been taken to the bank. You remember that statement? You've been taken for granted probably most of your life. Some you've been taken for as a fool. And that's what happens. So what's my point? My point is that we're all familiar with being taken. So when we look at the story of Adam and Eve, when we see Eve being deceived, it's like nobody wants to relate to Eve, but you can. I mean, you've been duped before. You've been conned before. You've been what they call tricked before. You've been bamboozled. I mean, you was wanting one thing and they took advantage of you and they took all of you. I mean, come on, they cheated you. Out of what you were really wanting to do, somebody cheated you. Someone destroyed your soul for a moment. That's what they do. That's what the devil does. He is here to take advantage of you. The Bible says he comes to kill, steal, and destroy. That means he comes to take your soul from you. He comes to take your joy from you. He comes to take any innocence that you had from you. Only because you gave an ear. You allowed someone who's crafty, because let me tell you something. These boys, these women, they're crafty. I mean, they're skilled. They have a particular set of skills. I mean, to sell you a bill of goods, if you will, to sell you on a bad idea. And you jump all over it. But they're crafty. I mean, they got these cool words, sound so good. Girl, you're so fine. You're the prettiest thing I've ever seen, girl. But boy, you're so handsome. I mean, ooh, you're so built. Look how strong you are. And it gets in your head, and your head swells up, and you think, wow, somebody sees me. Somebody really sees me. No. They don't see you. They see what they want from you. That's what they see. Yeah, you see yourself full of yourself because someone said some clever, nice words. But here's my point, though. Have you taught your daughters and sons how the enemy's coming and how he's going to use clever words? He's going to use clever tricks and things to get inside of their head, to try to get inside of their spirit. Have you really taught them? We do a whole bunch of talking, and we're telling them what not to do and what to do. But have you really just laid it down? Just gave them that street language, that this is what's going to happen if you put yourself in a position. And this is what can happen, even just being in the world. Forget about being in a position. It's just that people will try to victimize you. People will try to take advantage of you. I remember when I was conned once. I think I was just green as I could be. This guy was selling these TVs, and he was telling you about this price that he had that you just couldn't beat. And it was in the back of an auto store. And I thought he was in cahoots with the manager, but he wasn't. He was just crafty. He had a particular set of skills that he was using. And he had you in the back of the store, and he had these big old TV boxes back there. And he was saying how he would give you one for just a small fee, like $200 for like $1,000 TV. And of course, you won't jump on that. But how many of you know that your daddy always told you that something that good can't be true? Well, what he was doing was he'd tell you to pull your car around after he's got your $200. Pull your car around to the back. And when you pull your car around to the back, that boy ran out the front door with your $200. He waved at the manager because he told the manager, when I wave at you, wave back at me because this guy back here, I'm telling him it's okay for me to come in the store. And so you think he waved at the manager because the manager's in on it, but the manager doesn't have a clue what's going on. Now, here I am out of $200, and I'm sweating. I'm suffering because I need my $200 if I ain't got my TV. But I happen to drive around and I'm praying, Lord, I need to see this guy now. Now, watch this. I don't know if this guy has a gun or a knife because, see, I'm frustrated now that somebody has conned me. Somebody has got one over on me. Come on, you can't do that to me. Come on, me of all people. I mean, I'm kind of careful. Now, think about that. And I am. But I've been duped. Yeah, me, Mr. Careful. Me, I've been conned. And that bothered me immensely. And so I'm driving out of my car and I see this guy walking. And now I'm so tense. I don't know if this is the guy or not, but I stop my car and I say, hey, guy. And he turns around and it's him. And he says, he's denying that it's him, but it's him. And so I go over to him and I turn this guy upside down, go in his pocket and take my money out. And he's screaming the whole time, help, help. And when I finished getting my $200 out of his pocket, I just threw him on the ground like a piece of trash. I go home and my arms are piped. My arms are so tight. I'm so tight. My wife said, what's wrong with you? I'm so tight. I can't calm down. My adrenaline just flowing because I'm thinking now, that guy could have had a gun or a knife. Watch this. But that guy also could have got me arrested because I'm going into his pocket. Even though it's my money, no one knows that. I'm robbing this guy now. That's what it sounds like. But I'm so tight. I'm so tense. I'm so distraught that somebody poured one over on me. And so I'm going to get what's mine, but I'm doing it probably the wrong way when you think about it. But that's what happens. We give ourselves to all this stuff out here in this world. And we're told that, you can have what you want. You can make it happen. And we start giving in to little schemes. Here, you can buy this TV for $100. You know good and well there's no TV for $100. And so you're part of it. You got to realize it. You gave yourself to it. Yeah, trying to get something quick, rich quick. That don't happen. People selling all these drugs and all this alcohol. That stuff, it just don't work. But you've got to be very careful. But my father was telling me, don't give yourself to drugs. Don't give yourself to alcohol. Don't give yourself to fast women. You just won't have a good life if you just mess with that in that area. Leave it alone. But some of you have desire to be taken. You think it's going to be cool. It's not. It's not. It will ruin you for life if you don't watch out. Like I told you, don't be mad at Eve. Eve was just vulnerable. And Satan was crafty. The Bible says he was subtle. He was crafty with his word. He had a set of skills, particular skills to get inside of her head. But just think about it, because Adam was in the garden. And Satan had tried him. It just didn't work. See, some people it works on, some people don't. You just don't know who you are. You don't know who you're going to be exploited by. It could be a family member, someone real close to you. I told you, Taken was one of my favorite movies. But one of my favorite stories in the Bible is the story of Jesus being led up by the Spirit into the wilderness. But before then, the Lord had made the statement after John the Baptist had baptized Jesus and said, this is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased. You've got to understand who you're being led by. Who are your friends? I mean, who are your true friends? Who is it that's for you or against you? You need to know that. Because when you think about it, we're all being led by sinners for the biggest part. People who are unsuccessful. That's who's leading us. That's what we, if you will, drafted as mentors. It's not the Holy Spirit. It's not believers, and we're running from them for most of us, most of our lives. And so we're being led by unsuccessful people, people who are sinners, people who don't mean us no good. They're only trying to do their good and use us for it. That's what we've given ourselves to. I pray that we wake up and we realize that Jesus was led up by the Spirit. He was taken up by the Spirit into the wilderness. I don't know about you, but I want the Lord leading me. I need someone leading me who's on the Lord's side. I need someone who's leading me who's a great mentor, who's looking out for me on every angle. We all want mentors. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Go get you one. But get one who has your interests. I mean, come on, not just their interests, but someone who's looking out for you on every angle. That's what we all need. We need someone who believes in us enough to see us for who we really are and to pour into us the good, the bad, and the ugly. As Jesus is in that wilderness, though, Satan keeps taking him into different avenues, turn these stones into bread. He's taking him places. Yeah, he's showing him things. jump down off of this temple, and the angels will have charge to catch you. Then he takes him and he's, worship me, bow and worship before me. See, that's where it's all at. Satan wants you to worship him. Some man wants you to worship him. Some woman wants you to worship her. That's what it's all about. It's all about who you worship and who you're going to worship. And people will drug you to worship them. People will abuse you to worship them. I want to be led so that I can be fed, so that I can be filled up for all that's to come. If I don't put myself in the right position around the right people, that won't happen. I'm using the wrong octane. That's what I'm saying. I'm using something that's going to burn me out and burn me up over time. I need to make sure that I've got the right nutrients in my body. I'm around the right positive images, the right positive people. I'm doing the right things in my life, for my life, so that I can be strong for all the weary days that's coming, for all the days that's coming that really I know and I need to be prepared for. I pray that you are wise enough to understand that Satan has a bag of tricks, that he's crafty, and that he has a particular set of skills. But as Peter and John made the statement, so do we. We have a particular set of skills that we can use to pull you out, to pull you up. As they told the man who was sitting on the porch, take my hand. What he was saying was, take the name of Jesus. Yes, lift yourself up and walk. That's what we need. That's what our children need. Our children need information so that they can lift themselves up and walk out of any situation. Yeah. It's one thing to go and travel and enjoy this country. It's another thing to have common sense and to understand when you tell the devil to get thee behind me. Because I didn't tell you about the airport, how they were being picked up by this young man and they were being flirtatious with him and he's flirtatious with them. And all that was a game to get inside of where they were staying, were they by themselves, getting information. And so by Liam listening on the phone and understand the dialect of the individual, he was able to come over to Paris and find out where his daughter was and to save her. Now, let me tell you something. I told you there's 49 million people who are being exploited right now in human trafficking. He was one, and this is a movie, to find his daughter. There's so many people who are lost and will never be found. Not because they gave themselves to something, but because no one ever gave them the information they needed. No one ever told them to know, no. You don't need to go there and try to make that easy dollar. That easy money is funny money. Stay right here. Keep on grinding. Yes. Keep on believing. Keep on having hope. Keep on having faith. And something will turn for you for the better. But we give ourselves the stuff because we're rushing to have more, to be more, to do more. You can't plug up all those holes in your soul of the things that you're missing. Because, see, sin will take you. Yes. Sin will put you in human trafficking. That's what sin does. And that's what's happening inside of you right now, if you're not careful. You're trafficking yourself. Need I get deeper? You're trafficking yourself, going from bedroom to bedroom, from man to man, from woman to woman. You're trafficking yourself. The lust of the eye, yeah. You're mentally taking yourself out of the game. The lust of the flesh, oh yeah. This unforbidden stuff that you got yourself into. And then the pride of life. That's where you take yourself out of the game. It's because you have such a big head. Watch who you allow to whisper in your ear. My advice to anyone is to have a moment before you go to bed at night and reflect on all the things that you achieved today and on all the things that you didn't achieve today. Look at all the things that you got caught up into, all the sin that you allowed to come into your life, and all the things that you did that you held sin off. And then make your to-do list for tomorrow. Because all the things that you didn't accomplish, you need to accomplish tomorrow. And then have a moment to just repent. Have a moment to ask God to forgive you, to make you better for the next day. to turn you away from all the stuff that you allow to come into you, into your ear, that you don't allow to come the next day, that you avoid, that you put up some barriers, if you will, that you refrain from getting involved in, that you tell some people no, that you tell yourself no. I pray this day that you have a list, a list of the do's and the don'ts, a list of repenting and moving forward with your life. We all have weaknesses. We all can be susceptible to being harmed and to being exploited if we're not careful. We can all be victimized by our weaknesses. But if we were to take the time to confess with our mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord and believe in our heart that God has raised him from the dead, then we all can be saved. You're no longer placed into a hopeless position. You're no longer placed into a victimization atmosphere. You're no longer trafficking yourself for the enemy. But what you're doing is you're putting yourself into an environment, if you will, where you're being transported and you are transporting others towards the kingdom. That's exactly where you need to be. I pray that's where you find yourself. Not being taken, but giving all that you have to a world that's in desperate need of being found. You be blessed.